And we are live. Welcome everyone to PDXCON 2019, where we're about to do our second global build-off. Can we get a round of applause from our live audience? Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Jonathan, the community developer for Cities Skylines, and we have brought in some of the world's greatest city builders to present to you today their competition prizes where they have created masterpieces to show off to each of you, and especially to myself and the judges who will be giving grand prize out to the greatest city builder of the world. And I'd like to introduce our judges to you now. I would first like to introduce from Colossal Order, we have Henka. Henka, will you pick up the mic and give everyone a quick introduction of your history at Colossal Order? Do we have the mic for you? So yeah, people need to hear you.
So yeah, I am a game designer at Colossal Order and partially responsible for campus. Thank you.
Our next judge is leader of the monkeys, but I'm going to keep calling her Maddie because she's been assisting us in so many things over the last approximately year that she is one of the Paradox basically pretty much part of Paradox's family now. So let's give it up for leader of the monkeys. And give a quick introduction. And I mean, the coolest thing is your asset count.
My name is leader of the monkeys, or Maddie, and my asset count is over 20K.
Our next judge is also from Colossal Order. We have Anu.
Hello.
And tell everyone what you do at Colossal Order.
Well, I work in the QA with the most fantastic team. I hope you guys are watching.
Give a round of applause for our Colossal Order judges. Next, we have someone else with Paradox Interactive, Vilius. Please
Hello.
give a little introduction.
Thank you. My name is Vilas, and I'm working with digital marketing at Paradox Interactive with Cities, so my job is that everyone sees that newest trailer for City Skyline.
Thank you very much, Vilius. Give a round of applause for our judges. And with that, let's get into how this competition works. It's a little bit different than last year's. Wonderful event that we did last time, but we took some feedback from some of those creators, and we wanted to present something that was a little more fast-paced for each of you. So this time, we will not be doing any live building, but instead, we have given each of these 9 contestants a partially pre-built city made by the wonderful Mr. Miyagi, who did a fantastic job of creating an amazing city. In this city, there is plenty of wide open spaces and many uneducated citizens. These citizens are in need of a university, a campus, in order to get their higher education. So we have asked 9 contestants to build the best university they can using this map. So we will be showing you a little teaser of the university that was built by all 9 contestants. We asked them to make a 3-minute video of the best cinematics they could put together. And although I have not seen any of them in full, I did get a little sneak peek of each of them, and I can tell you one thing, it's going to be difficult to judge them because they are all so incredibly good. But we're going to have to come up with a winner by the end of this stream, and the way we're going to do that is we have assigned 5 criteria that we are going to be judging each of these 3-minute videos on. The first criteria is realism. And the realism criteria is how well does this university appear like it could actually exist if it was in the real world? Could this actually be a campus that would remind you of a real world university that you might know of? And Anu will be taking over the realism criteria. The second criteria is design, and that will be taken over by Henka. You could have guessed that one being a design artist, though. The design criteria is looking specifically at how well the layout has been planned. Does this university feel like it was put together by a master designer, or was it haphazardly thrown together in a very chaotic way, which I think we've all seen a few universities that have done that. The third criteria is uniqueness. This criteria is looking for something that stands out, that has something that other universities don't have. The calling card of the university that would appeal to students far and wide. And the uniqueness criteria will be taken by Leader of the Monkeys. The fourth criteria is functionality. We all know as cities players that a city is only as good as its traffic flow. So if we can't get students to their classes on time, the university will not be very functional. So I will be judging myself on the traffic flow and the transportation of the university. The last criteria is the aesthetic. This is the pretty picture, the canvas of art that Vilius himself will be judging. How pretty does the campus look, and how well is the aesthetic when you're viewing through these cinematic videos? So those are our criteria. Now I think what everyone's wanting to know is, how did we convince 9 people to fly to Berlin and show off a 3-minute video? Well, the way we were able to do that was thanks to our wonderful sponsors, NVIDIA and Intel, who provided us with 2 of the best pieces of hardware for a computer that we could possibly get. The first piece of hardware coming from NVIDIA is the RTX 2080, a graphics card like no other that's going to give a lot of power to any computer that's using this. Our second one from Intel is the i9 9700K CPU processor, which is, from what I can tell, the state-of-the-art, one of the latest models out there. And between these two, these will be both going to the grand prize winner. So you got 1 in 9 odds, that's not too bad. And we'll be giving that out to a winner at the end of this stream. So there's the setup for our global build-off. Who's ready to compete? Now, we put up our lists of our contestants on all of our social media, Steam, and other pages. But we're going to go through them one by one. Really quickly, let me give you the full list again. PHTN Gaming, Strict Toaster, Zardoz, Imperial Jedi, Prez, Skibbe, the Tim Meister, Sim Nation, and Titan. Those will be our contestants. Give a quick round of applause for them, everyone. And let's get going with some cities from around the world. First up, we have PHTN Gaming. Will you please come on up to the stage? That's right, that's you. You're the only Vietnamese person here, so come on up, come around the camera. Let's sneak under through this front camera. Welcome, it's so good to see you. Pull up the mic and let's make sure that everyone can hear you.
Oh, hello everyone.
Is that good? No, I think that was on.
Hello everyone.
There we go. This is PHTN Gaming. Tell us a little bit about first yourself and where you come from. And
Okay, I'm PHTN Gaming. I'm the master of channel PHTN Gaming that some of you will know about it, and I think so. So I'm from Vietnam, a country in Asia. So I think that most of the City Skyline players are from Europe and American, but there is some about the Asia and Australian player. Yeah. So I'm here in Berlin today.
And how long was that flight?
Yeah, I'll take like a 12-hour flight and from Vietnam to Frankfurt and Frankfurt to Berlin, like an hour flight.
So
it's just a very
good
long
13,
flight. Yeah.
14 hours of travel. We are so glad to have you here from all the way from Vietnam. I think a lot of people here do know your channel. I know you've got quite a lot of fans, especially in this room. And we are ready to show off your university. Let's roll that video now. That was quite the university to start with there. And I think we saw a lot of really good footage of your university.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for the university?
I would name following to my city. It's Westdale University.
Westdale. All righty then. Well, I'm pretty impressed, but let's see what our judges are thinking about this. I'm first going to start off. I wanted to go first to the aesthetic with Vilius. I mean, how pretty was that?
Well, it was pretty. I think it looked really good. One of the first things that really struck me was actually a lot of parking places that were very well hidden on top of the buildings or between buildings. I think that made university really to look green, as well as giving a lot of space to actually walk around. Another thing that also I liked aesthetically was actually how historic buildings met with modern buildings in different. So it really gave a theme that you know what you're going to study. So I think these were the two things that I liked the most.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And PHTN, to respond to that, just follow up, it can be pretty difficult sometimes matching buildings when you're fishing on the workshop. How did you manage to do that?
Yeah, first I used the building of the campus DLC. That it is important thing of the video of my campus, and then I found the building, not just the education building. There's some like RICO building from commercial and residential, and I have to match it up. I took every single building and place it, and I erase it until it match up.
Yeah, that's a lot of planning, which kind of leads us to our other criteria, though, the design with Henka. I mean, could you tell, from that response, I mean, how much could you tell that that design went into the actual final production?
I have to say that I actually liked a lot about the design of the campus, and especially the creativity in placing buildings and how mixing and matching the campus assets with other similar assets to bring very interesting looking combinations, and to me that was very exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and then so we can get some of the other judges' responses in. Leader of the Monkeys, did you count how many assets he had?
I'm not sure, but knowing PhDN, it's probably a very high number.
Well, tell us a little bit what you thought about the uniqueness of this campus.
We actually had the exact same idea about how merging buildings and using them together made a really, really cool, complete look. The use of the overpasses was like linking buildings together. I really, really like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And then kind of for myself, I was looking at a lot of those pathways that you had going throughout the campus. And I was really impressed that you remembered to put a lot of pathways between buildings, which is really important for university students. I saw the ring pathways going all the way around, which can also be nice for students that want to get out and walk. What inspired that big ring of path all the way around your university?
The ring of path? What do you mean the ring of path?
You had the pathways going all around your university for pedestrians to walk around.
Yeah, because I see a lot of the university. I have to take a lot of reference in real life university, and I saw a lot of university. They use the walkway. They use it very effective. That they can lead the student to not using the road. They're using the pedestrian road to connect from the dormitory to the faculty and other places. And it's much more easier for them to do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then really quickly, Anu, speaking of the realism there, because PhDN obviously used some real world sources when he designed this. What do you think about the realism?
Well, it definitely shows that you chose some real life presentations there. I especially love the colors. They sort of fit the time of the year as well, and the whole feeling they created, the atmosphere in the campus felt really relaxed, like a quiet, good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we've got some good remarks from our judges. How are you feeling after that?
I'm still feel nervous.
Still nervous.
Sitting in front of so many people. Yeah.
You did a fantastic first presentation. Way to set off our global build-off for the year. Thank you so much for coming up.
John, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's get up our next contestant. All right, next up we have Strict Toaster. Can we get a round of applause for Strict Toaster? Welcome. So good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Now, this is a veteran of global build-offs because you were here last year. Take the mic and say hi.
I was, yeah. I was just hosting that time, so it was like much easier. But now I was checking my Fitbit. My heart rate is like going up now. It's, yeah. I mean, I stream often and you know, do YouTube videos, but like actually having an audience is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you.
This is a step up,
Yeah.
but you have a really popular channel on YouTube and on a Twitch, but you are being, people love watching you, and this is still making you nervous?
Yeah, I mean, because usually it's just I only have a camera in front of me. Now, like I was saying, I actually have real people that I have to interact with, so it's a little different, but I'll get used to in a few seconds, hopefully.
Well, we've got your university to show off. I think a lot of people here are expecting some pretty impressive work, which we know you delivered.
Thanks. I mean, after PhD and Games City, I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be much harder.
And I get to shower you with some compliments because as I reach out to other YouTubers and streamers and actually just cities people all over the world, your name comes up probably #1 as the inspiration for why people got started in YouTube or making city skylines.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you.
I mean, how many people in this room have been inspired by Strict Toaster?
Oh, thank you guys.
So, without much further ado, let's show off your university.
All right.
Let's roll it. Fantastic. Well, that was definitely incredible. What a
Thank you.
university. Well, I think we're going to have to go straight to our judges to get some ideas on that. I wanted to first start off and actually say something myself because I saw, was that a monorail or just a really cool train?
That was a monorail. Yeah, I tried to like integrate. I wanted the university to integrate with what Mr. Miyagi did. So a big part of the whole build was just like, okay, let's use everything that he already kind of set up and like extended it further. So yeah, the monorail was already there. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use this to not have any traffic. That was sort of the plan.
Slick. I don't want to even imagine what the tuition rates might be at that university, though.
Yeah.
But speaking of a realistic university, Anu, what are you thinking about that monorail, but then the whole university?
Well, I think it's great. I think the whole campus area blended seamlessly together with the city. Perfect.
Can you imagine yourself going to school there?
Definitely.
And Vilius, what about the aesthetic of this campus?
Yeah, I think first thing that I really liked was the scenic entrance to the university. It was like grand. And also seeing the mountains in the horizon, what a landscape. Really beautiful.
And some of those night shots were definitely looking good too. Speaking of some unique things we saw in this video, what did you see?
I'm going to be very picky. The one thing that I thought was the best was the fact that you used wider roads for your bus stops, and it made me very happy.
I actually noticed a lot of the same. You even had some specific segments for buses to drop off and pick up students.
Yeah. The placement of the monorail stations was kind of tied to the buses so that they will work seamlessly. It seems that they worked. In fact, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see people walking on the actual sidewalks. It looks kind of dead, but yeah, there was a lot of people.
It's a new university. Students are still
exactly.
coming,
They're still like sending out flyers letting people know that the university exists, even though it looks like 100 years old.
Once again, you did some good planning there with, like you said, the monorail and the bus stations. But Henka, what were you thinking of the full planning?
I really like the overall use of space in this, and I also like that there was a little bit evolution on the parks as the campus was growing. Really like that. Very good.
Fantastic work. Thank you so much
you're
for
very
coming
welcome.
today.
Awesome.
Everyone give a round of applause for Strict Toaster. And next up, we have Zardoz. Come on up and give him a round of applause. We've got two other people, well, our second person here from the US, but welcome.
Thank you.
Do you have the same jitters as everybody else?
Oh yeah. I feel a little better that Strict Toaster was nervous too, so that helps.
Now, Zardoz, tell us what state you're coming from.
I am coming from Illinois.
Illinois, and I mean, we've been seeing your videos and tutorials going up all over, and a lot of people have actually considered you to be kind of the traffic master because of some of your tutorials you did. How are you feeling about the traffic?
I'm glad that people feel that way. I think I'm happy that I've been able to help some people get better traffic in their cities.
I think you've become pretty well known in this community, actually, as being a source of really good tutorials. I know I've watched your tutorials myself. My sister actually had never played the game before, but she got interested in it, and she started watching your tutorials. So there's the compliment from my own family.
That's
so
cool. Yeah.
She asked, do you know Zardoz? And I'm like, maybe a little bit, but... But you're here now, all the way in Berlin,
Yeah.
and we've got a university to show off. Before we get into it, is anything you want to say about yourself?
So I'm Zardoz. I cover both modded and unmodded on my channel, and I think that's probably about it.
I think we got a lot of people out there that love playing vanilla or on console, and you're definitely an inspiration for them. Well, let's see what you've done here with this university, and let's roll it now. And we're back. Give it up for Zardoz. What an incredible video. I think everyone can now understand why you are so good at informing and instructing and tutorials, just the organization of your entire video. I feel like I now understand like all of these real world, universities. So you took a lot of inspiration from real world universities for this one.
Yeah, I saw the map and I saw that it was a European style map and I thought, well, I need to have a European campus then. So I looked at Oxford and then I looked at Cambridge and I really liked that they had so many different colleges in there and a mix of the old buildings with the new. And that's really what I went for.
I think it stood out, but let's ask our realism master. So Anu, what are you thinking?
All right. Well, congratulations on your beautiful campus. I absolutely loved the layout with the spread out buildings. There was enough space for everything, and it still didn't feel cramped. Good job.
Wonderful. And Vilius, about that whole aesthetic?
Yeah, as a European, I loved European historic buildings. I think that's an inspiration. However, I must say that it was quite crowded with a lot of cars parked on the sideways. I would say that thing I would, prefer maybe car behind there.
That is kind of one of the downsides of these old school universities is they do get compact. But Maddie, what about the uniqueness here?
I mean, I haven't seen all of them yet, but 19 areas seems pretty unique.
Definitely doing great there. And then really quick, Henka, how'd you feel about the design, the layout?
Like Anu said, also I love that there's tight spaces, but also open areas to give this campus a breathe also.
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice.
I felt the same way that I actually see it as a positive because it felt really connected. I'm a fan of universities that you can walk throughout. And in a sense, I think that's really good for, all of the students who probably aren't driving and want to be able to walk. I also did notice that even though this is a very European school, that was a pretty big football stadium there.
I wanted to use every asset from the DLC, and so I had to use the American football stadium.
And you did have lots of parking, so that means really good tailgate parties. So all of our Americans understand that. So let's give a big round of applause to Zardoz. Thank you so much for coming. We're so glad to have you. And next up, we have Imperial Jedi coming from Canada. Give him a round of applause as he comes on up onto the stage. Welcome. Say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. How we all doing?
Now, here's someone I know who doesn't get jitters. He's so smooth on stream.
It's funny you say that. I'm super nervous, so hopefully it doesn't show.
But I think that's the biggest compliment we always get whenever we work with you is everyone says that Imperial Jedi just has the most casual voice of all.
I appreciate that.
You could listen to that for hours. So.
Right, some people do fall asleep to my videos.
Have you tried ASMR yet?
I want to do like a nighttime city building, so only at night, super slow pace, just kind of like keep it a little bit calm.
We'll
too.
spare everyone from changing the format to ASMR for now,
right.
but I think that you are also an incredible designer. You make tons of stuff, both vanilla and modded.
Yep.
So now we're going to jump into your university. Let's get it rolling.
Let's do it.
To the stream. Put me back on. Oh, we're back.
I think I'm getting a little bit of a note here, right?
No, this is not Prez, but we've got your video. Give us just one moment to figure that out. It's all part of the suspense.
Of course.
But I mean, have you been talking with some of the other creators here? While
Yeah, it's crazy finally putting a face to a lot of these people, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of surreal. It's almost like you already know each other, but not. It's kind of tough to
It's like
explain.
you get to know who's been building all of this stuff now. But we also, actually, this is a good time to mention, I forgot to say, I know you're from Canada,
Yep.
and you're probably getting tired of people just saying Canada like it's a little small country.
Oh, no, it is a small country, though. I mean, California alone has almost like double our population, so.
But where in Canada are you from?
I'm from Toronto.
Toronto.
And if you live in Toronto, you don't pronounce the T's. It's like Toronto is the way you would kind of say it.
Well, Imperial Jedi from Toronto, let's try it again.
All right, hopefully you got this in time.
back.
All right, not bad.
Though I'd say better than not bad. That was
I think
quite
in my
impressive.
mind's eye, it didn't quite look as good as that, but I think it looked good there.
I think that turned out good. I'm going to jump in first on this one because I am impressed in how much mass transportation is in this university.
That was my...
Let me make sure that I got them all right, though. I saw tram lines, even going into a tram about.
Yep.
I saw the bus roads, an entire bus plaza station, monorail, and then I also saw a rail line.
Yes, actually, since we're in Berlin, I used the S-Bahn as one of the stations, and I used the S-Bahn as my train.
That was
for some
fantastic.
extra fun here.
I really liked how you had all of them next to the stadiums.
Yep.
Those, that's really good for transportation, especially when you have game day. But let's go over to our judges. I want to start with Maddie on this one. I mean, what are you thinking on the unique factor?
I was going to mention all of the different modes of transport.
I
but
was
I
a broke
really
student. I couldn't afford a car. I needed public transit, so.
but I really like how you made the monorail such a big part of the design of the place.
Well, it's like Mr. Miyagi had it in the map, and I wanted to kind of focus on that, and it made this really cool little loop down to the downtown, so.
Yeah, and speaking of just the overall design, the layout, what are you thinking over there, Henka?
Oh yeah, I like the openness of the main building area with the plaza and the parks surrounding it. And also, it still felt very focused and integrated nicely to the surrounding city itself. Very good.
Thanks.
And what are you thinking on the aesthetic of that, Vilius?
Yeah, I think one of the most beautiful things for this one was actually autumn colors, mainly due to many different trees around the campus. And also it was very nicely spread out, so it did not feel crowded.
We got a bit of nature going on in this university.
Arboretum and everything, yeah.
And lastly, our realism. Do you think you could see this as a real university?
Definitely. I very much enjoyed the little corner stores just popping here and there to provide the students the beverages and snacks they need to study around the clock. Very good job.
It's almost like you know what it's like to be a poor college
really, I know,
student.
right?
It's like, got to have the cheap 7-Eleven,
Yep,
or
yep,
I mean, do
I
they
pay
have
my dues.
7-Elevens in Toronto
We
too?
do, yeah. We don't actually have them often with a gas station, though. That's a big difference. But
Awesome. I think you did a fantastic job.
you very much.
Thank you so much for coming
thanks for
out
having me,
here.
too. It was awesome.
Great to have you. You'll be here all weekend to
definitely.
show off stuff. Everyone give them a round of applause, please. Well, I think you guys probably know who's coming up next, thanks to our small technical error, but let's still give a big round of applause to Prez. We'll give you a good introduction too, and then we'll get onto the video, but welcome. Excited to be here?
Oh yeah, definitely. First time in Europe ever, so this is wonderful.
Well, this is going to be good for you then. Berlin is a great place to get started.
Oh yeah, no, I'm loving the city. Absolutely loving it.
Awesome. Did you get in yesterday then?
I got in on Wednesday.
Wednesday, so you getting some time to tour it. So we'll
Yeah,
be sure.
and then Ami showed us this really cool neighborhood that he lives in, and it's an awesome place.
So tell us where you're from.
Right, so I'm from New York, but I live in Orange County, California now. The suburbs, basically, which has made me, as I come to Berlin here, just absolutely love cities. I love urbanism now, and I realize how much the suburbs I live in sort of lack a lot of the transport modes and sustainability of a city, and so I'm loving it here, and I want to be in a city, basically.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you one big question before we get started, because I think you're the youngest competitor here.
Yeah.
So do you think that was difficult being, I think, one of the few people that hasn't graduated from a university now?
Yeah, I'm going to community college 2 years early. It's complicated. It's very complicated.
So you do have some good real-world experience to show off here. Well, I hope we can all see it in your video. Let's get it rolling. Well done, Prez. Let's give him a good round of applause. Well, first off, I think for me personally, when I first saw that, it felt like fall semester, back to school season. So that was, the thing that struck me first there.
Right, I guess that sort of comes from New Windsor. I've been working in with autumn stuff for so long, I just have to implement some of that at least.
I knew we'd see some of it, and I want to start off really quick with actually the uniqueness, again, with Maddie, because I think that's an important point to bring up.
I really, really liked that there were so many narrow streets and not that much street parking. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, because I was actually thinking this felt like a really walkable campus.
That was the goal. The idea was it was sort of an older liberal arts school that's not too big, but recently it's expanded. It's got some new sports stadiums, a couple new dorms, stuff like that, but generally it's got this main campus core.
There's a whole history to this campus. Did you guys feel like you felt that, Henka especially?
Yeah, definitely it was very, very nicely done layout, and I especially love that there was like a lot of nature. It was like nestled in there among the trees. Excellent, excellent.
And with the realism, and anything that stuck out to you, Anu?
Yeah, I actually noticed the same thing as Maddie, that there were loads of paved areas that were completely void of all kinds of vehicles, which is maybe one of the first things that come to my mind when I think about university. Good job.
I think we definitely touched on a good strength here, that very cozy, walkable school. Vilja, so how are you feeling about this overall aesthetic? What was looking good to you?
Yeah, I can just agree with what has been already said. This feels really as the greenest campus of them all. It's like very beautiful pathways to walk. The only recommendation I would say from aesthetic side, there was few shots where we saw industrial district somewhere in the background. Getting rid of that would be just perfect.
Are we sending all of our university students over to the factories? You said it's a trade school,
they're
right?
right. Yeah, no. So it's a liberal arts
Liberal
school.
school,
Yeah,
sorry. Well, I think you did a fantastic job here, and you really got that. I think my favorite shot there was one where you could see the fall colors going up the mountainside with the snow up on top.
Oh, yeah.
That was just fantastic.
I saw that lot. I had to pick it immediately.
Well done. I think you got all of our judges pretty impressed. So thank you so much for coming all the way out to Berlin. Give them a round of applause, everyone. All right, let's get on to our next contestant. We're, just halfway through now, so we're getting through them all. And let's get up Skibbe onto the stage. Now, Skibbe is also coming from a country where we're not seeing as many City Skylines players, but where are you representing today?
Hi, and thank you for the invitation and being here.
What country are you from?
I'm from Romania.
For everyone who can't guess the accent, right?
I believe it's very hard to talk in English after a few people living in the USA. So
no,
you as well. So it's very hard for me.
I think you do great. But we're not here to judge you on your English skills.
Yeah, I hope so.
We're here to see the most amazing university, and I think you've got a really good shot.
Oh, thank you.
I've seen the stuff you do. One of the first videos you did for our YouTube channel was a roundabout tutorial.
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to see some roundabouts?
It's half a roundabout, somewhere there, half a roundabout.
I think we'll see some cool stuff from you either way. Really quick, tell us a little bit about what you do on your channel.
I'm playing City Skylines mostly. The City Skylines is the best thing happened to me for a long time here. Because it chills me. I play it for relaxing, for fun, and now I'm doing this on my YouTube channel. But mostly City Skylines you can find on my channel for sure. Tutorials and lots of build-offs.
Great. Well, let's get right over to your university then. Let's roll it.
together.
Well, there you have it from Skibbe himself. Can you do that wink live now?
I had to add something different, right? No, I was like a rector of the university. I was looking on a window. Now, I hope I put some smiles on your faces. That's
Definitely did. It got some character there. I wanted to start really quick. First, let's go to the realism. I want to start with Anu this time.
Oh, good, I just finished. First of all, congratulations, that was very beautiful. I love the little details which you sort of sprinkled around the campus area and altogether made it feel very alive, very there and real. Good job.
Thank you.
And I especially noticed on there that you did something that I haven't seen before, and that is that you actually had the pathways interacting with the different buildings, going through archways, even building up an upper level plaza. Vilius, how did you feel about that aesthetic?
Well, historic buildings, beautiful pathways, river splitting the campus, and finally all the green areas. I really tried to actually find something that could look better. I couldn't. Really beautiful, 10 out of 10. Thank you.
Great compliments there. And let's go over and find what was the most unique thing, aside from, the winking Skibbe at the end.
Well, I very pretty. The amount of mods made my heart flutter with joy. That's all I got to say about that.
And I felt that we had a really cozy campus. This felt so centralized that is like you show up at that main building and like you could easily just walk to any other building you wanted to. But Henka, what were you feeling about the design there?
I really liked that it was very like old world feel to it. That it was like tightly packed and narrow alleys inside the campus area, and also the creative ways to use mods overall. Very good.
Thank you.
So if you were to put a date to how old this university is?
Kinda old. That's what I was looking for. I saw many universities. I was looking through them, and I like the idea of doing something very oldish, like in a old like castle, maybe a palace or something was transformed into university, and some other older buildings. I added one or two newer buildings there too to make like a little contrast or something. Yeah,
I think that really showed. Anu, I mean, do you think you could see this as like a tourist site more than a university, maybe?
For me?
No, I was saying, Anu, do you see this as could also be
Sorry.
like a... Sorry, I decided to go back to you really quick. I mean, that almost, to me, felt like a tourist site.
Yeah, I mean, everything about it just worked for me. It was very there. Like, you can sense the time and the feel and what you were going for from the very start to the very end. Good job.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again. And yeah, I wanted to get just a couple more compliments for your old school university there. So, but thank you so much for coming out. We're all very impressed. Thank you.
Thank you too.
And everyone give them a round of applause. All right, we have 3 more contestants to go. We're making some good pacing here. I hope you guys are all enjoying all of these campuses that you've been seeing so far. Let's go over now to the Tim Meister. Let's bring him on up here and give him a round of applause. Welcome onto the stage. So good to see you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you too.
Well, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Eastern Canada, in a little tiny province called New Brunswick.
New Brunswick.
Not very many people know where it is. A lot of Canadians don't know exactly where it is either, but it's there.
But does it have a university?
It has a couple of universities, yes.
Ah, so you come well prepared then.
Yep.
Did you use any of those universities to inspire you in this build?
I did, actually. I Googled, well, before starting the project, I Googled like top 50 universities in Canada and North America and whatever. And the University of Fredericton, which is really local to me, it's like 2 hours away, that one popped up. So I was kind of glad to be able to use that as inspiration. So
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think we're all looking forward to it. Really quick, though, I want you to explain to everyone here a little bit about your channel, what you're doing the best on your channel, and what you like to do.
I just started my channel because I played City Skylines, and I thought, maybe if I could give some inspiration to other people if they want to build cities creatively, if they want to, detail their cities, things like that, because it's something that I always thought that I was pretty good at. So, it's something I do for fun anyways.
You're definitely really good at it, so
Yeah.
not a probably there. Well, let's see how definitely good at this game you are, and let's roll that clip. Well done. That definitely needs some good applause.
Thank you.
Now, as an American myself who spent most of my university time driving to school, that was some really good parking space.
Yeah, I made sure there was plenty.
But I also noticed some really good public transportation with that monorail there, with the bus lines as well. I also really noticed something that I thought was really cool was there was a bridge in one of your shots too, a covered bridge that was definitely something unique. But leader of the monkeys, will you share with us some of the unique things you saw?
The fact that you included the telescope, the astrology telescope, in the area was I hadn't seen that before.
The observatory, right?
Yeah, sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. It's a telescope.
Well, really quick, what kind of school are we looking at here? Is this a science school?
I guess one of the major focuses on the school would be science. Yeah.
Awesome. And let's ask Henka how he thought the layout of this whole university was.
Okay, yeah. I love the parking spaces because they were so contrasted to the buildings themselves and really show just how many people go to a large campus. That was excellent. Excellent.
And then Vilius, I wanted to ask you, we've mentioned these parking lots, but how do you feel that that built into the aesthetic of this campus?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Oh, I was just saying we mentioned these parking lots, but how do you feel that they all fit together in the aesthetic?
Yeah, I think they really fit very well in this one, and especially those were complemented with a lot of small parking, sorry, not parking, but park areas. So yeah, that was really good. And also I would say observatory was really complementing that, yeah.
Definitely had a great shot there. And then Anu, what do you have to say for the realism?
Well, I also wrote that I heart the placement of the observatory. I only wish that you would have expanded on that idea more, because that definitely worked. Good job.
Thank you.
I think you got some beaming responses, and I definitely think we found a focal point in your university there. I would also agree with that. All righty, we have 2 more contestants.
Their names. And so people got really confused at the time when you would say SimNation. They'd be like, who? And then so we just went with Jan.
Well, tell us really quick, because you have kind of a unique background, about SimNation, how that whole thing got started.
Well, so SimNation was a thing before I joined. It just kind of went from there. And then everyone else left, and now I'm alone.
Well, we're glad to have you not only in Berlin, but you've been great to work with. Ever since I started working with you, probably a year and a half, maybe?
Yeah, that's when you took the job. But then we did meet before. We met 2 years ago at PDXCON.
Right. You've been a long-time fan and honestly someone great to work with. So we're really glad to have you here. Let's show off your university. Wow. Well done, Jan. That is an awesome entry from
Thank you.
SimNation. He leaned over to me during the video and said, I did that so fast. And I'm like, you didn't need to tell me that. I would have never known. That looked amazing.
Just the editing, just the video in the end, it was, yeah, I had a bit less time because I had other plans already, but it turned out good.
Well, you know what they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, but if it was, it would have been much more impressive. So
That is true.
I first want to start off with Henka on this question here because the design of this one was quite cool because the layout was mixed in with the city. What did you think about that?
Yeah, it was definitely that, and I like that there was an kind of organic feeling. Everything, there was like rounded corners and curved streets, and it wasn't too strict. It was like more loose, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And as far as the uniqueness, what was sticking out to you?
All of the beautiful, beautiful hedge designs that you had made with Propline Tool. Especially the cat face. That was my favorite.
I will say that one was put in just for you.
Aw, thanks.
Looks like he knew who our judges would be. But
He's trying to buy my vote.
I want to quickly go over to Vilius then on that whole aesthetic there. How did it all fit into the city, even with hedges and cats?
Yeah, I think it fit really well, especially again, modern and historic buildings blend beautifully together, and also selection of red roads, I think really complemented and did not, ruin the view with the historic buildings. Beautiful.
Thank you. And Anu, to finish up our judges, what are you thinking about the realistic factors of this campus?
Well, it's always a pleasure to watch when there's old and modern buildings side by side and they still work in some sort of weird harmony, which is, I think, what was happening here when the campus was so integrated with the city. I think that was excellent. Thank you.
Great. And then as for myself, the thing that stuck out to me was, one, being located within a city like that definitely makes it harder to manage, traffic and vehicles, but I really appreciated that you definitely had a good connectivity between all of your buildings, and it felt like it also benefits the whole campus because it means that all of your students can get access to jobs and food and dormitories, all the things that they need to. So I think that was definitely a positive there, how it was built in.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things, because I live in a university city back home, and my city is like that. It's very interconnected. The university is kind of really a part of the city. The campus isn't separate. So I kind of went off that, and it felt more organic to me. Mm-hmm. And I like that feel more than like that standard, there's a university campus over there. And it's always nice because it's all walkable. It's not that big of an area, and it just worked. It just felt nice building it.
You definitely accomplished all of those goals. Really well done. Thank you so much, Jan, for coming out to Berlin, and we're looking forward to all the new things you build. Thank you. Give him a round of applause, everyone. Well, we're up to our final contestant. I want to give a big shout out to Titan, who comes up on stage waving his hands. He looks excited to be here.
More nervous than excited.
Almost like you're not jet lagged at all.
Well, I just had a 2-hour train ride, so not really jet lagged.
Do you get train lag ever?
Not really.
No.
That's not a thing, I guess.
So we've got here our native German. And tell us, though, what city you're coming from.
I'm from Dresden. That's just 2 hours remote from Berlin, and it's probably the most beautiful city there is in Germany.
So
to my mind.
We're laying down the gauntlet to all of our German viewers coming to PDXCON.
Yes.
But we're really looking forward to seeing what you've got. Before we see your university, I want you to explain really quickly, what are some of the specialties you've done on your own channel?
Well, I focus mostly on European, or I focus on European cities, but in a realistic setting. I want them to look like a realistic European or especially German city could look like, and it's not really fantasy, but yeah, real city planning principles and city historic principles I include in my city building. That's the stuff I do.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing some of those elements in your campus. Let's
you'll see
roll
those.
that video. Well done.
Thank you.
I think it was incredibly apparent that you have a mastery of a European city and how to make that organic city. The campus just kind of evolved out of your city there.
Yeah, that's what I always do, to include everything.
You did great there. I want to start with Anu on this one and tell us, I mean, as someone who knows Europe pretty well, how did this fit in for the realism?
Well, I really enjoyed the housing in between the big, bold campus buildings, and I instantly saw that they are housing the campus staff and some are housing students, and it all just felt very real to me. A lot reminded me about the Harvard area in Boston, which is good job.
Thank you.
And then as far as that whole aesthetic of the entire campus, how it fit in, what are you thinking there, Vilius?
Yeah, I really can again say that a European feel was really there, and it was very beautifully surrounded by mountains. That really something that struck me. However, in some points, I think it, again, might have felt a bit overcrowded with a lot of cars.
Which you get oftentimes in some of these European cities, too.
Yes, that can happen.
I think something that worked well, because, I mean, you did have those narrow streets, which can be difficult for street traffic, but I loved how you integrated the trams through your entire university.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of trams in Dresden?
A lot of trams, yeah. We actually have one of the biggest tram networks in Germany, and we have a lot of those roads, as I had in the video, where the trams are on really tight roads with cars parked next to both sides. So
Yes.
I got a big inspiration from my own university there.
Definitely noticed that myself, and they felt pretty seamless to me. Henka, how are you feeling on the layout and design of this university?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I felt it was focused, but there was still space for outdoor areas and parks, and I liked that the park designs were very different from each other. That was really nice. And I also liked that there were roads leading directly to these big faculty buildings. It was excellent.
Thank you.
Great. And then Maddie, you want to finish this off with how unique was Titans University?
For me, it was the one amongst all of these that have been the clearest difference between the old and the new parts of the university. And I think they blended together very, very well.
Thanks.
Great. Do you feel from the judges' reactions that you accomplished your goals?
I think I'm a bit surprised. I wasn't sure if everything looks all right, but I think, yes, it does.
Definitely more than all right. But I guess we're going to now give Titan a hand of applause. We are so glad that you're able to come. And now comes the most difficult part for us. I mean, it's nothing compared to what these 9 builders have done, but we get to look at these 9 incredible campuses. We have been keeping notes and diligently marking down, the ones that really stood out. And I encouraged our judges to put a wide spread to that because, I mean, honestly, it would be very easy to say that all of you are 10 out of 10 on everything. But in order for this competition to work, we do need to come away with one winner for this competition. So we're going to take a short break as the judges, but that doesn't mean you need to click off of our channel. What you can do is we have a compilation video where we had an editor put together some of the really cool clips of all 9 of these clips, so you can get a good refresher of all of the cities and campuses that you've seen today. And then we also have a special bonus for you. We actually do have a 10th campus. This one was put together by an incredible city builder, Sanctum Gamer, who unfortunately was not able to make it to PDXCON to present live on stage. But because he put so much hard work into this, we wanted to really honor him and the time that he put into this. And we want to show you his campus as well. So right after that compilation, we're going to show you Sanctum Gamer's city and his campus for you to watch. And then we will come back with our scores, and we're going to come back with the winner, and we'll hand out those prizes. So let's roll those videos. And we're back. Thank you everyone for watching, and a big special thanks for Sanctum Gamer for what an incredible campus. But are you all a little glad that you don't have to compete with them though? Well, as I expected, there was a very big moment of fear when I started looking at all of our scores and realized that this was going to be quite difficult. I think all of us had some really good remarks for everything that you guys did. So I asked all of our judges to take the scores and just spread them out as far as possible. And once we did that, we looked at who was across the board having the highest scores, and we saw a winner come through. So it's our pleasure to announce from Paradox Interactive and Colossal Order that we would like to congratulate Skibbe as the Global Build-Off Champion. Come on up, Skibbe. Come on up. And I want to make it clear that we did judge him on his campus, not on his winking abilities. Well, how do you feel now?
Oh, well, I just came back here to my jacket and okay, great. I mean,
were you getting ready to walk out of the building?
Thank you.
Well, I want to first start off and explain one of the things that really stood out the most to me, why I thought you were a winner for this. I loved how your pathways not only wound through your buildings, but literally went through some of your buildings. Yeah. It felt like, I'm going to give a little context here. I went to Utah State University, and it gets a pretty cold and windy winter. And during winter, we have something called building hopping, where you literally need to jump from building to building before you freeze to try and get to your classes. So the fact that you had these different covered walkways and arches and just your pathways were going through these buildings, I thought was really good for what would eventually lead to a very low traffic flow, because everyone was able to get around your university really by not needing to drive around it. So I thought that was fantastic.
Thank you.
I want to give all of our judges a quick chance to give some of their best remarks too. Let's start first with Vilius.
Yes, I think aesthetically that's exactly what you said. All the pathways very well connected to buildings, especially also green areas. For me, it really felt like the university that I would love to attend myself and really be inspired. So many different areas, but everything blends perfectly together. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
And then Anu, tell us your remarks as well.
Well, anyone who loves and puts so much time and effort into every single detail is just simply amazing. Congratulations, you're definitely worthy of a top score. That much effort is just mind-boggling. Good job.
Thank you.
And Maddie, tell us some good compliments for Skibbe too. He couldn't get a bigger smile on his face.
Yeah, right?
It felt so scenic and so different in the sense that maybe it could have been something different, but it was also like, oh, I want to go to school there. That was so pretty.
Thanks.
And Henka, round us off with your thoughts on the design.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, the old world feel was really there. And overall, very unique campus area, which is memorable, at least to me, probably for years. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll all have some good memories of this event and the incredible campuses that were built. We have some really talented creators that are here. Can we give everyone a round of applause? And I'm going to be naming off all of them, so keep that applause going for PHTN Gaming, Strict Toaster, Zardoz, Imperial Jedi, Prez, Skibbe up on stage, the Tim Meister, Sim Nation, and Jan. Oh, I said that wrong. Sim Nation, Jan, and Titan. What an incredible event this has been. We're really glad that all of you were able to participate. Do you have any last words for the judges?
Thank you so much for the nice words, really. I'm really impressed now of my build as well. But yeah, it was a really great moment, and I liked it a lot doing this. It's the second time I take part of Global Build-Off, last year as well. But hope to see more of these because we really do enjoy them.
Thank you so much. We're really glad to have everyone out. Let's really explain how we're going to finish up this global build-off. So I am going to be giving our two grand prizes, thanks to our sponsors, NVIDIA and Intel, who provided us with top-of-the-line equipment. We have the RTX 2080 and the Intel i9 8700K processor. Let me make sure I said that one right. Yes, okay. Well, you've got two really good pieces of equipment that we hope that you love and help expand your city building as well. Now we probably just need to get them like another 64 gigabytes of RAM, right? And then I wanted to tell you that we are actually coming back onto the stage in about 20 minutes. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to show you a teaser of our next City Builders episode, which is actually going to show you another incredible creator who is here in Berlin. $2.20 from Australia is our next City Builder, and I want to give you all a teaser of what we're going to actually show tomorrow at PDXCON, also on this same channel you're watching now. So I'm going to let you watch that, and we'll be back in 20 minutes for what you could say is kind of a little part two. You've seen the campuses and the builders, but now I want to show you who made some of these incredible assets. So we're giving them, these asset creators and modders, a chance to come up and show off some of their favorites. So I'm sure you'll see some of your favorite asset creators. So thank you all for joining us for this global build-off. Let's give one more round of applause to everyone for being involved. I want to thank you all. So then in about 20 minutes, we'll be back. Hope you guys enjoy this teaser.
When City Skylines released that trailer, it just made me thinking, this is exactly what I want. I started my YouTube channel 2 years ago. There was like a standard that I wanted to achieve, and I wasn't going to release a video unless I hit that standard. Creating an atmosphere is on the forefront of my mind every time I build anything. I feel like I have a different way of looking at the world because of City Skylines, which is pretty crazy.
And we're back. Thank you all for waiting. We hope you guys really enjoyed that global build-off. We're now here for our next global build-off, the Asset Show-Off Edition, where we have invited a bunch of asset creators to come up on stage with us and share with us one of their favorite assets they've ever made, or possibly a new one that hasn't been released yet. So I want to first, I'm honored to present Titan back on stage. I bet many of you didn't realize that he's also an asset creator. Do we have Titan in the building, in the room right now? Then we're going to go straight on to Ami Polizei Funk. Come on up. We got to try and gather all of our asset creators. They're all ready to party. But this is not the first time you've been to PDXCON, is it? Yep, it's on. Just keep it close.
There we go. It's my, hello everybody. Willkommen in Berlin. I'm really glad that everybody's here. It's been fantastic meeting everyone. And I was in Stockholm for PDXCON last year, so I'm a veteran. It's my second PDXCON.
And last time you actually built your own little city. Isn't that right?
Last time I built Nacka, which is where the convention was, so I kind of recreated Stockholm and all the rivers and transportation, boats everywhere and buildings.
We had so many people ask us this year, are you going to do another competition like that? And I was like, well, Jason would just win again.
No way, I would never. I would step aside and let someone else take.
So this year we decided we'll just give you the invite anyways, but you didn't have to travel far.
No, I rode my bike today.
So we have here Berlin resident, but not a native of Berlin.
No, I'm originally from Los Angeles. I'm an American.
But this is someone who you've actually probably seen on our channel, especially in our first city builder. We're actually going to have a panel tomorrow, right? Where we're actually having you show off and talk about that experience. But for right now, let's dig into the assets, because you have just gotten better and better every month. You've been doing how many assets day by day?
Well, my thing is quality, not quantity, really. I pretty much only make Berlin assets, so that narrows down the candidates. And I often find myself improving existing assets. So, you know, I'm making a Berlin one-to-one build, and so I made the map and all the buildings and such. And so, like, I have certain favorite places. For example, Alexanderplatz, you know, in the Fernsehturm. And I love that square. And I often go there, you know, it's just part of my life.
I love that one too.
Get on at that station or meet someone there. And, you know, whenever I'm there, I'm just looking around and I see things and I either say, I want that, or I don't have that, or what we have for this is not good enough, or like, we need this light at this time, you know, like it's always in my head how I can somehow improve my favorite places and make them feel more like what I love about them. So that's my objective, really. It's not to just crank out a bunch of stuff, but to make the special things feel more special.
Yeah, and with that, let's talk about the asset that you want to show off now. What is the asset? Let's get our images up there.
Oh, wow, cool, big screen. I like it.
What are we looking at here?
This is the Fernsehturm. And yeah, in the past week, as kind of a special series just for PDXCON, which I knew would be in Berlin for like a year, I've been working on a few of these assets, and I released lights. I updated the Alexanderplatz Bahnhof there, the station. Added glass and made it much bigger, and improved the interior, you know, like animated escalators, this kind of thing. And then the Fernsehturm got a big update, and just yesterday that went live on the workshop. So if you want to try this thing out or play with it.
Let's go picture two. Let's get through some of these pictures. Look at these lights
Adding
that we're
these
doing.
lights was a huge effort, and I have to immediately give props to the modders that made it possible, because
picture three?
I pestered them for months. It's Boformer and Electrics. These two guys made those lights possible.
They do fantastic, and you really utilize those lights well. Fountain up in front. Our next picture here. There's a nice daylight shot.
This fountain is called the Wasserkaskaden, and it's from like 1970, shortly after the tower went up in 1969. And making the fountain was actually the huge challenge for me. I'd never made a fountain before. It involves, painted vertexes and animated UV texture maps that scroll across. And so actually the fountain is also a collaboration. A Korean asset creator called Nunu made this amazing fountain for Korea. And I just approached him on Steam and I said, that thing's so incredible. Can I learn from you? Will you share your source files? And he's like, yeah, sure, here. And I showed him a picture of this in Berlin. I said, I want to make this thing. And he was completely supportive and open, and he just sent me all his source files, and I was able to dig in there,
fantastic.
like rearrange them, and
love the collaborations
repurpose
here.
them.
And we got the last picture. There we go. What a shot! Everyone, give a round of applause to Ami Polizei Funk. You have done such an amazing job. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
And big props to all the asset creators here. I love the stuff you guys make, and I hope we can just keep this great thing going.
Let's get more of them on stage then. All right, did Titan get back into the room? There you are, the no-show. Come on over here. Can we get Titan's asset back up on screen? Give him a round of applause, everyone. That's okay. We'll forgive you. You did just create an incredible campus. So.
Yeah, I need to calm down a bit.
Yes. Well, you are a YouTuber and an asset creator.
Yes.
What have you got to show us today?
What I want to show you is the Schloss Hartenfels, or the Hartenfels Castle, which is the building I'm really most proud of because it's so big and I did so much work to it. And yes, that's a Renaissance castle from Torgau. That's a small town just 130 kilometers away from here. And I visited the castle once, and I was so impressed because it is that historic castle that from some angles looks like some fairy tale castle, and
not just some angles. This looks like the kind of place I'd love to go visit right now. It is apparent in everything you make that you do a lot of research on these.
Yes.
You've got to be the German castle master by now.
I think I made 4 castles by now, and that's more than everything else or anyone else on a workshop. So could be, yes.
Yeah, you do really incredible. So your biggest inspiration, just overall in the real world, and from the community, like who do you work with the most?
Who?
Yeah.
The person that
inspires you the most.
I'm the person.
We'll start with the real life inspiration first.
Well, I wouldn't say if it's about person that inspire me. It's not one person, but a whole group of persons. You know, the big asset creators like Armesto, like Jez, like Feindbolt, they do great work. Those got me into asset creation, and it's still those that I compare my work to, and those encourage me to improve my work more and more. So that's it. I can't say one person. It has to be a group of persons, sorry.
That's awesome to hear, though. Well, the Castle Master from Dresden, thank you so much, Titan, for coming back up on stage. Give a round of applause, everyone.
Still a bit nervous.
And we got all the pictures up. Great. Thank you so much for coming again. And let's get another asset creator up. Thanks again.
Sure. No problem.
Yep, go up around this way. We flipped things around up on stage. It's confusing everyone now. All right, we have Avanya next. Let's give a round of applause to Avanya. Now, speaking of city builders, we have another city builder up on stage with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
And where did you just come from?
Well, just now I came from the hotel, but I come from Denmark.
Oh, great. We're so glad to have you. I think everyone has mentioned, as we see in this venue we're at, we're in Funk House. It's pretty industrial. We're going through like this whole industrial way where you can see construction sites all over, and they're like, Avanya would love this.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
do you love this?
Yes. We were just walking, hurrying past. It's like, I don't have time to look at this as much as I'd like. No, but it's definitely like if I had time, I would have made it before we came here, and it would have been what I was showing off. But
well, you were definitely the queen of industry, and what you've made here. What are we looking at?
that is a large coal power plant that I made a couple of years ago. It's actually inspired by one that's found at the Volkswagen plant in Wolfsburg in Germany. But it's such a massive construction, and I really, really love how it turned out. So it was
I do too, and your download numbers on the workshop don't lie either, so a lot of people do.
I think it's actually not my most popular asset. I think that's actually sewage treatment.
It's still the sewage treatment. It's funny, I didn't think City Skylines players liked sewage.
No, but maybe that's why they like it, so they can get rid of it.
And we have here, it's a 3D render of it, but you've taken a few pictures for us. And let's go through a few of these so you can see all the beautiful sides of this building. And I'm sure many of you can understand how this would really fit into any industrial area. Tell us a little bit about some of the detail that you added to this building, though.
Well, a lot of it was just when I looked at the two big square towers, I was considering how can I make this look interesting, because they're just big blobs that are mainly white. So I was looking at it and saying, well, there is some sort of dirt or stuff doesn't stay clean forever.
The smudges and stuff.
Getting those sort of details in there kind of helped break up the big white blocks that it would otherwise be. I also looked at the roofs, because Google Maps lets us have a nice view of the roofs. What do they look like? What sort of details are on there, and how can I recreate that? Especially because we spend a lot of time looking down on our cities, that an interesting roof is nice to look at as well.
Yes, indeed. It's the part you'll look at the most.
Yeah.
So
the little two front bits with what you call it, metal structures. They actually came about because there was a bug in the game at the time. I just needed a tile extra there so it was wide enough. But sub-buildings were bugged, so if there was no model on it, it would flatten a whole tile in the city. So I flattened a couple of people's cities and had floods and stuff. I was I'll fix that quickly, I promise.
There's a history to this one, then. It's a city wrecker.
Yeah. So, and then I decided, I'll just add that little detail as well, because if it was there on the original, I thought, well, might as well model it now.
Exactly, it looks fantastic. And then, how big is this building we're looking at?
It is, what is it? It's 16 by 17 tiles in the game.
That's a big industrial
It is much
factory.
bigger than the default power plants that you will get in the game, that's for sure.
That is fantastic. Well, did we get through all of our pictures then? Oh, we got one more nice one from within the game there. Beautiful, even with the forklift up in front.
Yeah.
Now, this is definitely someone who understands the industrial scene, and you bring such a real-life attribute to all of the assets you make. And it's just phenomenal. Can we get a big round of applause for Avanya, everyone? What a fantastic creator. Thank you so much for coming. We're really glad to have you here. Thank you again. All right, next up we have Fainbold. Give a round of applause for Fainbold, everyone. Any of you who've ever wanted to get in and get a 50 building set of your favorite city, it probably came from Fainbold here.
Yeah, I made quite a few.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's talk about the asset that you made for this show. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting building. It's Schenkel's Bau Academy from 1836. Yeah, it's revolutionary in its way because it was in the way it was constructed and the way it was planned out, because it has. Maybe we can have a different picture at first so I can explain it.
Yeah. Let's move on to the second picture so everyone can get a good look of what. That was just the roof, was it?
Yeah, that was the roof. It was planned to be left.
Anyway, here's a better picture.
You can see it is very repetitive and has a very simple facade design. Well, it's not very.
Let's keep the mic close too so everyone can hear you too.
Oh.
This mic, it's a little there.
Yeah, it was very simply designed for the time and not that complex. And that makes it interesting for me because it predates modern architecture by pretty much 100 years.
Really?
And
wow.
yeah, it's a real building. And I picked it also because it is from Berlin. And yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, what happened to it?
Yeah, it was damaged in the war, burned out. And then there was plans to reconstruction, and it already started. And unfortunately, then the GDR decided to turn it down against international conflict.
Lots of history with this building.
They turned it down, destroyed it, and replaced it with something. And the interesting thing is, now there's funding to actually reconstruct it.
Really? Oh,
and
well, that will be
if you're in
neat.
Berlin, you can actually see there's one facade piece that is existing.
That's pretty cool.
So,
what's our next image on this one?
Yeah,
okay.
that is with
This is what we're
textures.
looking at.
You
We
can
should have
see.
started with this one, I'm realizing.
Yeah, I guess it was planned out like that, actually. Anyway, the interesting thing is, or the interesting question is, how do you make something that doesn't exist anymore? Because there's no color pictures of the building. And in this case, I was kind of lucky because there's funding for reconstruction. There was also a colored render of the facade. And I was able to take this piece of the facade and made a texture and then be able to model it. And
it's a lot of research you're putting into this. I can imagine that gets quite difficult. But
it was actually, but it is a building. I think it's worth it. And yeah, maybe the last thing we can talk about is actually something that is happening lately with model quality. Is a lot of people putting more energy and more triangles and more details into roofs, and that was what I was trying to achieve with the roof as well.
Now that you can actually see how the roof fits in, you see how unique this building is. That is definitely unique.
Yeah, every single paneling is modeled out for the roof detail, and like maybe we can see the roof shot from the first.
Yeah, can we get to the first image real quick? We'll see if there we go.
We can see how detailed the chimneys are, and that there are different kinds of chimneys, different sizes, and so on. You can see the ridges that are actually modeled out.
You didn't just copy and paste that 12
no,
times?
No, I had to. Well, I mean, it's copy and paste. It's two different kinds, but at least they had to make two different ones.
This is an incredible building. Feinbold, thank you so much for coming. Give a round of applause to Feinbold. Thanks so much. Next up, we have Jaron Abel. Please come up to the stage. Round of applause, everyone. We've got some really good asset creators. Jaron Abel, where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
Netherlands, not too far away. Did you take the train coming in?
No, I didn't.
Just awesome.
I went by plane.
Well, that's faster too. So, well, what are you here to show off today?
I'm showing off here the Tribeca Tower from New York, also known as 105 Duane Street.
Do we have any New Yorkers here that know this building? Well, let's tell us about this building.
This building was built in the 1990s. It's technically a modernist building, but it's really different from the most modernist buildings you see in New York, because it's fairly brick-clad, especially the underside of the building. There's a lot of brick details, which is really...
Let's move to the next picture, see if we can see some of these. There we go. No, we're looking for the brick sides.
Yeah. Most of the buildings I make are brick, so I'm under the asset creators, mostly known as that one guy that makes a lot of brick buildings and really rambles about how other creators don't make bricks correctly.
Well, everyone needs their big specialty.
Like here in this picture, you can really see the first floor where there's a lot of detail put in, like the pillars of the building and detail work in concrete, which is you really don't see in New York for like early 1990s buildings and 2000 buildings that are made from brick. It's mostly just a flat facade made of bricks. And if you look back to the 50s with the housing complexes, just flat facades made of bricks.
So, I mean, why New York? Why do you get so involved with New York City?
I've made a few buildings from New York, and I just think this was a really interesting building. And then one of my patrons said, I really want this building to be seen, and I just looked it up, and it was really interesting. So I decided to make it. And yeah, that's how it came to be.
Well, we're glad you did that. We got to our fifth picture. I mean, this is an incredible skyscraper for everyone to look at. What a good building here. Thank you so much for everything you do for the community. Thank you so much for coming to Berlin.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So glad to have you, Jaron Abel. Give a round of applause. Our next asset creator is, I sure hope I'm pronouncing this one right, but Badi Dia. Come on up to the stage and give a round of applause. And then he can come up and make sure that I actually pronounce the name correctly. I talk to these guys all the time, but it's not until they actually show up that I get to ask them how you pronounce your name.
I know. Faces are hard and names are hard. Bad idea.
Bad idea.
All you have to do is think of something that's horrible and move the underscore just by one character.
I remember actually long ago, it's all coming back to me now. You actually told there was a story behind this one. All coming up with a bad idea.
Yeah. We'll not get into that.
Well, where are you from?
I'm from Denver, USA, Colorado.
So a nice long flight just as well.
Very much so, and I haven't slept yet.
Oh, well, we're really glad that you showed up today to show us another one of your incredible assets. What are you here to show us?
Glad to do it. I'm here to show you the historic post office. It's based off of a post office that exists in Lockport, New York. And I didn't really choose to create this asset for any other reason other than it was something entirely different than what I've done in the past. Mm-hmm. Industries was fresh out, and submeshes were a brand new thing. And I wanted to do something that combined them. Post offices were a new feature, a new mechanic, yep. So I wanted to create a post office, and I wanted to use submeshes with it that's toggled.
This is unique, and I saw it in the first picture, but you had like the candy cape stripe for those lights on the outside. Were those barber shops, or was it just the lighting that they does out front?
So you'll notice that it's not in this picture. The Christmas lights and candy cane stripes was a feature that is allowed to be used through the submeshes, and by changing the name on the building, you can turn it into Christmas mode.
That's incredible. So we got here the post office. And you got the main building up front and then a side building. So what's the size of this post office?
Oh gosh, I don't remember exactly. I think 6 by 11 tiles somewhere
Who's
around in there.
Who's counting at that point anyways? But this is definitely an incredible building that you can see, I mean, from these images, fits so well into a city. Like, that looks really good. I mean, the detail and the stonework, and I think even Jaron Abel would love the bricks on this one, so.
Yeah, a lot of what I tried to do with it was to try to work with as much texture as I could and as small of a texture atlas as I could. I'm a big fan of texture reuse, and I use this building as an example all of the time whenever I'm working with some of the aspiring creators on Discord that are asking questions. I use this as an example of how you can reuse textures in different areas and still be completely effective with it. A lot of these textures are just straight mapped over on top of others and tiled across vertically, horizontally. It's a really efficient use of texture space.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely evident in this high quality building. I want to thank you especially for coming out, even without any sleep, to come up on stage and share off this asset.
That just makes it more fun.
Thank you so much for all of your help. Glad to have you. Thank you so much, everyone. Next up, we have, would you believe it or not, another city builder. It's like there's a trend with high-quality creators in our City Builders episode. Armesto, come on up on stage. Now, Armesto, this is a guy who has an eye for detail and creating some of the most unique, honestly, statues, like figurines, like stuff that you would see on these buildings.
No, I actually don't know how to model statues. I prefer to just make the building.
Well, you make some incredible buildings and stuff.
Thanks.
What's the masterpiece for today?
I mean, the masterpiece for today is the Cathedral of Florence in Italy, or Santa Maria del Fiore.
You pronounce that so beautifully, I don't even want to try and do that now.
It's just Italian. Could be worse. I mean, look at it. Not because it's my asset, the building itself. I think it's one of the most detailed and beautiful buildings in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the beauty
detail,
just
and
in
also
this shot.
the age it has, and well, and if you know all the story behind the construction of the dome, who was thought to not be possible to build a dome this big only with bricks, and it had a lot of mystery to be built. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting, and it deserves to be in this game for sure.
I love the way you just look at a building and you say, that is gorgeous, I want it to be in the game. You have that talent.
I mean, it deserves to be in the game, and people deserve to use it in their cities.
Yeah, I think a lot of us would love to have a building like this, and many people I know do have this building in their cities
Nice.
as well.
I mean, they have to find a good spot for it because it's pretty big.
It is
actually.
big, but you can see here, I mean, from all corners, all angles of here that just...
I mean, it's full of details. The patterns, all the marble was very difficult. I tried to recreate even... Did you see that brown part of it around the dome?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be all a balcony, but it was never finished. Just one part of the eights, it's finished, and I also made it. You can see it just above us there in the corner. But I can point to it more or less there.
Yep, a little balcony sticking out, but not finished because the actual building never finished.
Exactly, it's like it is. I don't want to invent anything that is not like that in real life.
That's a lot of history and culture packed into one building there, and this is one to be really proud of. Thank you so much for showing us off. We're so glad to have you here, Ernesto. Thank you for coming to Berlin. We have one more asset creator we want to bring up on stage. This is someone that you've seen with an entire asset pack. King Lino, come up on stage. For any of you who got that University City content creator pack, this is the man who built it all. Say hi to everyone, King Lino.
Hello.
And so tell us really quick first, because I want to give a big shout out for everything you've done for Paradox and Colossal Order, but you built that entire University creator pack. Can you tell everyone how fast you did that?
Yes, I had about 5 weeks to get that done. So
of
pretty much all the assets I did had to be completed within that certain
I remember
time frame.
when our producers came to us and they said, Jonathan, okay, we need an asset creator fast so we can get one out really quick because we want to get one done with with campus expansion. And I'm thinking, okay, we've got a lot of incredible asset creators, but who has like the process of just literally popping out like high quality buildings that fast? And I'm thinking, it's only King Lino. He's the only one who can do it. And if you've seen King Lino's, mostly I think it's these commercial buildings and retail buildings, you just got the process down. Is it even hard anymore?
Oh yeah, it gets harder and harder every time.
But what's the building you got to show off today?
So the building I chose to show off for, and I built this specifically to show off today, is the Peabody Hotel, and it's different from buildings that I usually do. I usually do more modern buildings, smaller commercial buildings. So I want to go with something that was older with a little more history.
Yeah, was this inspired off of is this an actual building?
Yeah, it's an actual building in Memphis. It's like one of the most famous hotels in Memphis.
I think that's something that is actually really unique for you to put to the workshop is bringing something from Tennessee and bringing actually from the cities around you. There's some interesting architecture there that's you don't see as much of on the workshop.
Yeah, I think architecture and buildings from the southern part of USA are really underrepresented on the workshop. So that's what I try to do, because you see a lot of buildings from California, New York, Chicago. And so
big population areas.
So coming from a smaller city like Memphis, I try to make buildings from smaller cities. And
you say it's a smaller city, but it's still a big city.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty big, but compared to New York, Chicago, LA.
But lots of unique buildings. I mean, what is it that really defines kind of the style of this building? Do you know, tell us a little bit about the history of what makes this part of Memphis?
Well, this building was built in 1925, which is pretty old for Memphis, because Memphis isn't
it's old
that
for
old.
Americans, everyone, okay?
Yeah, Memphis isn't that old of a city. I think like 200 years. So this building is pretty old, and it's in downtown Memphis. It's like when presidents or real famous people come to town, they usually stay at the Peabody.
Wow. Well, I mean, this is an incredible hotel, and I could definitely see how it could be used in all sorts of cities, too. And that's what's really good about your assets is they've got a unique history because they're inspired from real building, but I mean, every city wants to have one of your hotels or one of your restaurants or one of your stores. Like, they're just so adaptive.
Yeah, and this is really, I think, the first time I've done an asset with this style before, and I really went into a lot of detail as far as the windows, and pretty much everything is modeled out. I think it was like 26,000 triangles.
Wow.
So I tried to really go into a lot of detail and model everything out.
Well, I mean, you did a fantastic job. I want to give you a really big round of applause. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you. Thank everybody watching.
Thank you once again. So glad to have you here. All right, we are getting ready to close off. We actually have, if I did all my math right, 42 creators from our City Skylines community here in Berlin for PDXCON 2019. We are going to have such a big party, and that's what we'll be doing over at our City Skylines booth as Paradox celebrates all the games that we're going to be showing off. City Skylines has a special place in all of our hearts and all of our late nights as well. So I hope that you'll all be able to come in and tune in to our show. You can watch the show, PDXCON, on our Twitch channel or YouTube channels. You'll be able to see us all over, and I hope you're able to join us for that as we continue to show off pictures and some video clips of all of these creators. But the announcement show is actually going to be starting at 10 a.m. Central European time, so that'll be the best time for you guys to tune in for those shows. And then with that, we are done with our streaming for today, and we hope to see you all tomorrow. So from all of us at Paradox and Colossal Order, we want to thank all of you guys for watching, and a big special thanks for all of our creators that make this game so great to play. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. And then that's a wrap. Let's close it off.